cannabis grower, and I have a question for George. We are having a problem in curing our cannabis to where we're trying to find a fine line between not letting it mold, but yet letting it get too dry. We keep them in the glass jars, and we do burp the glass jars because we have had some that did mold. And so to prevent the molding, we are burping the jars, but then we find that if we burp the jars too much, that it's getting too dry. So I was wondering if he had any suggestions.
Yeah, you probably have mold on it. It's probably got mold before it goes into the jar. And generally what happens, you probably have all kinds of mildew. The big one is a powdery mildew. And botrytis isn't so bad, but that's botrytis cinerea. But you can have this powdery mildew, and this year it's been horrid. We had 1 year in Spain where it was horrid, 2 years, and now it's not so bad. You have to start controlling it early on because it's a systemic thing, and it could start in your plants already, right? And you have to kill it before it gets in if you want to do it organically, because there's Bacillus subtilis is one of the bacillus, bacterias, and Serenade's one of the products that they use, right? And you have to put that on your plant before the mold comes, and then you have to keep that up before the mold comes, and then after that, keep other plants that are molding away, because this year it was horrid. Everything had mold. I have crepe myrtles where I was growing this year in California, and they had it. My plants got it. I kept ahead of it on some of them, did an experiment on the others, and they didn't look too well. But anyway, there's that point. You start there, and then after that, when you harvest the plants, you take the branches, and you put them in a bucket, a container like this, full of water with, say, a 2% solution of hydrogen peroxide, H2O2. And then you soak them in there for a while. It sounds kind of funny, but you soak them in there. The mold floats up to the top. You skim that off. Might take a couple of times, and then you skim that off, and then you take your plants and you lightly spray them with water. I don't know exactly what it does to the trichomes. It may beat them a little bit, but I would use like a light spray, not heavy spray, just to kind of rinse it off. And then you shake that, and then you let it dry, or you can put it in a harvesting machine, a trimming machine. But then you can put it into your container, But the second control I already gave was, when it had mold on it already. And that stuff, it's hard to see, Once you see it, it's there. It's inside the plant. You can't change that. So one of the things I've been playing with, I was playing with one of those green lights, you put on your head and walk around in the in the grow room with. We were filming I'm doing a lot of videos now, and we were filming in a grow room, and I was looking around with this green light, and you can see the mold. It sticks out. Oh, cool. Yeah. And so the next thing I'm going to do is get the UVC light. Not UVB, but UVC. It'll burn your eyes, but you can shine it on the mold and it'll kill it right on the plant, Wow. So that's a big tip. Please pay attention.
There you go, from the master himself.
Hey, here's something I'd like to say. I just came from dinner with my friend Jeff, who wrote this book, Teeming with Microbes, and it's an excellent book, wonderful book. It's all about growing organically. You put a good biology with your soil, and you're going to grow a lot bigger plants. You're going to have way fewer problems. You're not going to have, all of these invasions to the roots and everything. The microbes will help so much.
I've been using the mycorrhizal enzymes for years.
Excellent.
That helps the nutrients break down and feed the roots. What other microbes can you tell me?
The thing is with the microbes, they make the fertilizer, the nutrients that are available, they make them available in the soil. There's already a lot of things in the soil that just are not available. To make it available is a big thing. Just because something has a big NPK number, like 10, 20, 30 or whatever on the label, doesn't mean that the plant is going to use it. That plant, it doesn't use that always. or uses a fraction of it. The main thing is to get the stuff used. And anyway, like I say, give this a shot and you'll be much happier. And the other thing is too, you know, people spend a lot for fertilizers and stuff. That's not necessary. You can grow a 10-pound plant in a 200-gallon container with good soil, and for your flowering fertilizer, you have two hands like this full of bat guano. Should have gloves on because it's poop. It's not good. But you throw that on there, and that's it. That's all you have to give for the whole year. That's it, you know. So if you fill your head with good things, you don't have to put too much on your plants. It's a very good thing.
Very good point. The big plant video that you produced, you're working on some others,
and
you've got that one out there on how the best way to do that. I know I'm gearing up right now to make my cuttings for this April.
Excellent.
You know, I always try to make them right around the first of the year, so they're good 3 to 5 feet tall when they go in April. And,
you know, that's what you have to remember. This plant's really, really easy to grow. You know, some people call it a weed. It grows everywhere. You know, everywhere.
It's amazing how big
plant.
It will grow too. You
yeah,
know,
exactly. It grows huge.
24 plants in an area, and it's just jam packed. And so now I've cut it back to 9. I've seen, you know, 3 plants fill a 60 by 30 greenhouse in a season.
Yeah, that's totally possible. There's people who are growing plants, you know, 20 pounds. You know, it's very, very possible. It's not that difficult. The main thing is it takes time for it to grow that big. You know, if it doesn't have time, you know, the plants indoors, they can grow 1 meter high, and that's it, because the light is limiting and the pot is limiting. But when you have a plant that has plenty of soil, and there's time for the biology to take place in the soil, for the roots to absorb everything, you're going to have a lot bigger plant. And like I say, you're taking your cuttings right after Christmas, first of the year. That's what you should be doing. And you're growing cuttings too, you know. Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, your cuttings have been acclimated to this climate. Right. This is Sunset Western Garden Book Zone 8. 8A or B, I can't remember. Mm-hmm. But, you know, that means the last average day of frost is April 15th, I think, okay? So I'm in zone 14, where I'm at in California right now. I can start a bit earlier. But the main thing is, you can put these plants outside. You got to keep them from flowering, so that means they're going to need a little light to keep it from flowering, because, you know, it's a daylight sensitive plant. But the other thing is, they're going to need heat, and that's about it. It can be raining cats and dogs outside. As long as they're warm enough, they're going to grow. Yeah, and they don't need tons of light early on in the year.